Hey guys, today I'm going to tell you about how I turned my book-hating baby into a bookworm by 18 months. Chloe used to hate books. It was ridiculous. You couldn't get her to sit for a book. It was torture for everyone. She wanted to flick through them. She wanted to push them out of your hands. She didn't care for books in the slightest. Now, Chloe and Tyler were chalk and cheese with this. Tyler loved books right from the start. He was eager to read. He would just happily sit. We would read all the time with him. And he loved it, bringing book after book. He would just sit and look through books in the bookshelf all day. We thought, oh, we've got this made. This is so easy. And then we had Chloe. Chloe didn't like books at all from the start. It was an uphill battle. And it made us sort of think, oh, maybe we aren't going to be able to teach Chloe how to read. Maybe this is going to be a bit trickier than we thought. But we persevered. And these are the 5 key things that we did to really help turn her around from a kid that absolutely hated books, that you could never read to her as a baby, and now she's a total bookworm as an 18-month-old toddler. Number 1, the type of books is really important. So we started with short books, books that were interactive, large flaps that she couldn't rip off really easily. So those felt flap ones, books that had really big flaps that you could open, those peekaboo ones, they were interactive. They had little parts that you could touch, little different textures, and they were short. They were snappy. You could be done with them in like 30 seconds. We started to build her stamina with these sorts of books. We had a whole heap of these, the ones that we got from the library, ones that we had at home, and we would just sort of try and get her interested in those. And she developed a few favorites of these sort of small books, and we started to build from there. So that was our first one, just hooking her in with these age-appropriate books. Number 2, we built books into our routine. So we would have regular times throughout the day where we would be reading. So this would be when we're going to bed or going for nap time. I would be always choosing a book to read to her at those times. This was something we did quite naturally with Tyler. We always had 2 books before bed or whatever it was, and he would always be trying to bargain for more books. Chloe, it was a battle to even get her to sit for 1 book, but we just made this a part of the routine. Tyler was doing it, Chloe was doing it. So we're all going to do this. We're reading books together before bed, before nap time, whatever it is, it became part of the routine. Just the regular way we do things in our house is we're going to read at these certain points in time. This then started to evolve over time, where then Chloe would start to want to read books after breakfast. This became a really particular routine. Chloe would get out of her high chair after she's finished her breakfast. She would go over to the book basket and bring you over a book. Tyler is usually still finishing his breakfast at this time. So then we would sit at the table and read a book at that point in time. And again, these ones were really the short ones, the, peekaboo, touching the flaps sort of books. These were the books that we would read. And then that sort of became another part of another routine that we had around reading books. So yeah, keeping them in the routine, doing them at predictable times throughout the day, every day, was really important here. Number 3, keep it positive. So every time that we read a book, we're going to make sure it's a positive experience. I always like to have the kids sitting on my lap, just so that it's a nice sort of warm, comforting experience, a time to connect together, and then we're going to do it together. It's going to be fun. If Chloe started to not like the books that we were reading, or she was getting a bit over it, all right, we abandon ship. We're going to stop it there. We wanted to keep it a positive experience. So just starting off building from those small building blocks of really positive experiences, and then sort of continuing that on and building up the stamina and enjoying that positive time together. So yeah, keeping it positive was key, making it fun, a really important time to connect together. Tip number 4 was a book rotation. So we did this once Chloe was starting to really like the books that she was reading. She was getting into those sort of short, touchy-feely, lift the flaps sort of books, but she kept going back to the same ones. And this is good initially sort of to build that interest, but we did want to sort of expand her horizons a little bit and get her interested in different types of books, even books that didn't have flaps, books that didn't have touchy-feely bits, because obviously not all books have that, so we were trying to sort of extend her. So we developed a book rotation system. I used to have heaps of these sort of board books on display in like a big basket on the ground for Chloe, just to sort of get her interested, and that was really good at the start. But then I actually just reduced the basket size. I went from having a massive basket full of books through to having this small basket, and I would only put 5 books in that basket. And I would just rotate the books every couple of days. sometimes every day, just depending on how much time I had and how she was sort of responding to the books. So that then every day she had 5 new books to look at in her little basket, and she sort of knew that basket was hers for books that were sort of age appropriate for her, but she's trying to extend her interest. So rotating that books became really key, because she would then start to look for, oh, what's the new book here, and then have different favorites from the rotated books. And I think this really started to build that momentum and that enjoyment for the books. We would also go to the library. We like going to our local library, usually weekly or fortnightly if we're a bit busy, and we would get new books and we would change the books. This was a little routine that Tyler and I started, and then when we had Chloe would come along with us to the library as well, and changing the books from the library that we'd get each week or each fortnight, again, with another form of book rotation where we would have new books again in the house, and we'd get really excited about that, you know, talk about when we're going to go and change them, and, you know, when we're at the library, it's all really exciting, choosing our books, you know, the whole process of borrowing them out. That was all really fun. Again, keeping that really positive. And again, that means we have a rotation of books that we see in the house. I also do a form of this with the books that are more targeted towards Tyler, so those larger picture books. Again, we have like a forward-facing bookshelf, show you a picture, and I do change the titles that we have in there. We have too many books to keep them all on display at one time, and so it's just good to just rotate those titles again, so then even Tyler is reading some new books, new titles every so often. Tip number 5, my last tip for you, is to not give up. Now, this sort of seems a little bit silly, but it's really important to have some perseverance with this. Reading to your children is the most important thing that you can do as a parent before your child starts school. It's going to give them really solid foundations for learning to read. It helps to build their oral language, it helps to build their vocabulary, it helps to build their understanding of how a story goes. There are so many benefits of learning to read. So do not give up. If your child is showing resistance to enjoying books and wanting to read them, just like Chloe was, it's so critical that you don't just let them get away with that and just think, all right, she's just not a book kid. I mean, I did have moments like that with Chloe, and I thought, gosh, this is a really uphill battle with her. But we persevered, because I know that it's for the greater good, for her, for everybody long term, that she does have this enjoyment of books. So we really persevered. It's a long game. And this has taken us 18 months to get to a point now where Chloe loves the Gruffalo. She loves the Gruffalo's Child. She loves We're Going on a Bear Hunt. She loves Harry McClary. She wants to sit and enjoy these longer books that are probably not typically age appropriate for her to say. You know, I wouldn't say the Gruffalo is written for an 18-month-old, but Chloe loves it. These books don't have flaps. They don't have touchy-feely bits. They're not short. These are longer books that she has to sit and attend to for longer periods of time. And she's doing this at 18 months. She'll bring them over to you. We actually have to stop her and say, okay, can't read this one right now. But we fully flipped the switch on Chloe here, and I think it's ultimately for the best. And this is what gives me the confidence to know that I think she is going to be ready to learn to read in the next couple of months, and we're going to start that whole process with her. But the real foundational piece here was getting her interested in books. It also helps to develop her attention span so that she is able to sit for longer periods of time and attend to one thing. So really, the sitting and enjoying books with a parent is just the most important thing that you can do for your child. So yeah, don't give up. This is your most important thing. So don't give up. It's a long game and you can do it.